Okay, to those who have joined in, welcome. We are still waiting for some of our panelists. What I will do is I will introduce the panelists while we wait for them. That way we can get to the important discussion. So I have Ms. Anuradha Bharadwaj, who's here with me. And so she has been hi, Ms. Anuradha. She has been a parent for 26 years and she's raised a son who's now a full-time musician and has finished his formal education with a master's degree in social work. Her daughter Kriti is 17 and she's pursuing a career in sports, in badminton, and she's dreaming of being an Olympic medalist. Kriti has been homeschooled for a few years and is now back to mainstream college. So, Ms. Anuradha, it's really wonderful to have you with us, and we can't wait to hear your experiences as a homeschooler, which will inspire a lot of us to take that step. So, happy to have you here. So, I will also introduce our other panelists, Ms. Amrita Lang. So, she is a polyglot. She is a public speaker, a philanthropist, an artist, a foodie, writer, and blogger in her own words. And she says that she's a mother and a teacher and a learner for life. So I really look forward to having her here. And we also have Fatima, who is a good friend of mine, and Sandhya as well. So Fatima is a community manager for a renowned parenting group on Facebook. And she's a mother to 2 children. She's a microbiologist, that's the degree she holds. And she's a training and learning companion by way of professional interest. She enjoys working with people, interacting and getting to know them. And Fatima ventured into unschooling and her entire family really is enjoying it. So it's delightful to have Fatima here. She's a good friend. Yes. I am trying to bring them into I'm not able to, for some reason, I think. Okay, so Fatima, I think you will need to switch your video on. Same with Amrita as well. We'll just wait for them. Yeah, I can see Amrita here. Deepa is here. Deepa and Amrita both are here. You just have to turn on your microphone and your video. Just waiting for them. And I think I'll introduce Deepa since she's also here, but we'll see her in a moment. So Deepa is an entrepreneur who runs a recruitment consultancy, and she has around 12 years of experience working with the big fours. Her family consists of her daughter and her son. Her daughter is 7 years old, and her little 3-month-old pup Olaf. So she's been in Bangalore for 3 years now, and it's really nice to have her with us as well. Yeah, we're just waiting for. I have given the introduction. So all of our panelists have different experiences to narrate. Hi, Deepa.
Hi.
They bring different perspectives to homeschooling. I can see Deepa here. Yeah. Just waiting for her to turn on her video.
Sure. You can see me, right? Can you see me? Hello? Can you guys see me?
That's okay. I think we'll wait till they are here. And so this is the new normal. And hello, Deepa. Nice to
Hi.
have you with us. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Shweta here. Hello. Yeah.
Can you see me? Can you guys
Yes,
see
I
me?
can. Yes, I can. I can hear you as well. We are just waiting for so we are live now, and I'm waiting for two of our other panelists to join in, Amrita and Fatima. We're waiting for them. So yeah. So I have, in the course of waiting, for our panelists, introduced everyone to the agenda and discussed things in detail. Just waiting for the others. You can see Amrita. Okay, so I have gotten a cue from Sandhya to start the discussion. So welcome everyone. We are the Bangalore School Group. We are in well into the first day of the Bangalore Education Online Expo. This is the first virtual expo conducted
This
entirely.
sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
There's a weird noise that is coming. Are you guys also hearing that?
No, I mean I am alone in the room, and there's no sound that I can.
Okay.
Can you hear anything, Anurag?
No.
Okay. Okay. So we are in the well into the first day of the Bangalore Education Online Expo. Manoj and Sandhya and I run the Bangalore Schools Group, and this is an effort by us to bring bring the expo online, and the expo that we started in Jan. So without further ado, I'd like to get into today's panel discussion. So today's discussion is about homeschooling. Is it a conviction, choice, or circumstance? So of course, I know a lot of homeschoolers, and I have interviewed a lot of homeschoolers as a journalist, and I have been interacting with the community even before the pandemic happened. So it is the most discussed topic today, but a lot of homeschoolers have pursued homeschooling for due to conviction. They really believed in the approach, and it worked for them, and everyone has a different story to tell as to why it worked for them. So today we will ask all the questions that you would like to know if you are venturing into homeschooling. If you're thinking about it, you could have different reasons for doing it. So can anyone do homeschooling? I mean, will it suit me? And what are the things I should look out for? What happens after homeschooling? I mean, in colleges and professional courses. What about exams? So these are questions that we get so often on the forum. And it is great to have all our panelists who come from different backgrounds to talk about homeschooling. So I have introduced everyone, even though we are waiting for Fatima and Amrita to join us. So I would like to start by asking both Anuradha and Deepa as to why you started. I'll start with you, Anuradha. Why did you start homeschooling? Because everyone has a different reason as to why they wanted to do this. So what was your reason? Anuradha, I can't hear you, even though you're not muted. I think. No. No. I think there's something. Maybe you can try. Everyone, can you please turn on your microphones and your cameras? Fatima and. Okay. No. And Deepa has gone offline as well. So these things happen.
I just came back.
Okay, Deepa, we can see you now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Anu, yeah, I think Anuradha's having some, snags with the mic. So I pose the same question to you, Deepa. Why did you start homeschooling? Why did you begin this journey?
Uh, so, I mean, once COVID began, I mean, my kid goes to international school. So, I, as a parent, I was very much, I always wanted my kid to go in a, okay, 1 second, there's something. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So as a parent, I always wanted my kid to go into a place where she's curious to learn, and I was very okay with the fact that if she doesn't get 2+2 is 4 in grade 1, if she gets it in grade 3 also, I'm okay. But I was more about it. Education to me was more about getting the concept of addition right. So that is where international schools came into my mind because. Somewhere I feel they inculcate the curiosity bit, where the child learns through experiencing, experimenting, and all that. But because of COVID, all of a sudden schools went online, and I think the entire environment that my kid used to love and I used to love in that school just went down the drain because it was all online, right? And it was about studying online, doing the homework, and submitting it online, and teachers checking. So the fun part was missing. There is some audio stream that is coming and going. I don't know why it's happening. Anyways, yeah. So the fun
We
part
can
was
hear you.
okay.
Yeah.
So the fun part was gone. It was just about finishing the assignment and submitting it, and the teacher would just come for 1 hour, and the moms had to do the work. And I said, this is not how I visualize myself for a year, because my kid is certainly not enjoying what she's doing. It's more of a pressure, and at a point she actually stopped learning. Whatever she was doing, she didn't really register because she was so much into completing the work rather than enjoying what she was learning. So that is when I kind of searched about homeschooling. I heard in various mom groups and education groups, and I came through various homeschooling schools around the world which follow IGCSE board, which is similar to what my kid went. And I like the fact that there is a lot of flexibility given, and the curriculum is already set for people who want to study from home. And I liked it. And right now, also, I think my daughter enjoys it more. Some days we have more fun, some days we study a bit. So, yeah, I mean, it's been going good for us. Yes.
Yeah. That is a very relatable story because a lot of parents are, a lot of inquiries from parents are, by those who want to explore it due to the pandemic situation. So just like there are those that have been practicing or pursuing homeschooling for many years, there are the new entrants as well. So it's really interesting to hear about your. Hi, Fatima. Hi.
Hello, I'm so
Hello.
sorry. Am I
No,
visible and audible now?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I gave everyone's introductions, and I'm just starting with the first round of questions as to why you started homeschooling. So I will ask Anuradha this question and come to you. So Anuradha, can you give us a little background about why you started homeschooling?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome. Okay. My daughter, Kriti, she would play badminton, and she used to go to Valley School. So morning 5 to 6, she would play badminton, come back and go to Valley School, come back at about 4:30, and I used to pick her and take her for practice. We would get about 45 minutes to 1 hour on court, and then we would come home about 7. And that's how life was going. It was fine. She was the number one player in the state in her category, and everything was going well. Till one day, there was a tournament in Bangalore. It was a nationals tournament, and this child, to everybody's surprise, went on to win the nationals in the singles category. And we then realized that there is perhaps a lot of potential, and Kriti always wanted to play more on the court. In fact, when she would enter the court, most of the kids would be going back home. At 5 o'clock, they would wind up and be going back, and she would be entering the court. But somehow it was manageable. And then on research, we found out that her counterparts were like in Prakash Padukone Academy or in Gopichand Academy, would play from about 6 o'clock in the morning to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And my husband Vasant and I, both being India table tennis players, we felt we need to give an equal opportunity to our child. And hence, we started looking for options which would allow her flexibility and no pressure. And yeah, so that's how we considered homeschooling. Many parents at this point also go to schools which give attendance. But in our case, the kids don't go to school, but they get full attendance. But in our case, as Kriti being in Valley, had not written any examination till then, till 7th standard, 8th standard, she didn't know what an exam was. And she had never worn a uniform. So to consider her putting in a conventional school with uniform and unit tests and monthly tests, we just did not consider that option. And homeschooling, we decided to take the plunge and try homeschooling. Did it for 3 years, worked very well for us.
Okay, that's wonderful to know, and I would like to then go to Fatima. So Fatima, I know so much about your kids because we are friends. So I know you as an unschooler. So can you tell us more about how your journey began with as an unschooler?
Sure. My children are very young, so we haven't gone as far into the journey as maybe Anuradha or so many other senior parents, and I'm hugely inspired by them. My son, as you know, Shweta, he's differently abled. He's on the autism spectrum, and he's like a 10-in-1 personality. So although he's one, he gives me a flavor of so many different children in one go. And yeah, as much as it's a challenge, sometimes it's a privilege as well. My second child, Sophie, she's only about 2, and she will be 2.5 soon. So quite young children. And we did explore in the beginning, of course, when we did not know that Arvin is my son. Arvin is slightly different, and he wasn't able to fit into a typical schooling environment. And even if maybe we tried or he tried, he wasn't really accepted that easily. It was quite hard for people to customize the existing structures, and to go up against the structures is quite a big challenge. And I feel that every homeschooler or every unschooler or everyone who's trying to do that in their own silos is still sort of a hidden movement against these structures. I think over a period of time, maybe this movement will strengthen and it will be out in the open. It hasn't been easy. We get asked questions about why your children aren't going to school. Education is equal to schooling is a sort of an equation that has existed for a very long time, and that needs to change. I'm not sure if it's going to happen in my lifetime, but maybe my grandchildren, if I have any, maybe they might be able to see such changes. But education definitely is not equal to just schooling. Schooling is probably one aspect of it, one part of it, or one pathway to do it. I've been a typical schooled individual, but we weren't sort of a very typical family as well. Yes, we had certain structures in place, but I think we were given a lot of freedom to still expand that side of our mind or thinking, where there were options open. We were never told that options aren't there. So I think that curiosity, which was probably fostered during the childhood, probably it's now actually coming into practice when I'm a parent. It takes some time for things to brew, and then finally now, like, okay, I understand the purpose of education and what education is, and it's not really this or that. There's no black or white, there's no wrong or right. Just like parenting isn't one there can't be one book about parenting. There's like every parent has a way of parenting, and there's no right or wrong way to do that. Similarly, I think education, there's no right or wrong way to achieve it. So with my son, we started, we really stayed away from academics, because my mother, she completed her degree when she was 51 years old. So there is no age limit when it comes to gathering degrees, or gathering so-called typical sort of a certificate. So I consciously made an effort that I'm going to help my children discover themselves and really carve their own path. And again, I'm not anti schools. I have my own family members who go to school, and I am surrounded by very typical and a standard or structured families as well. But at the same time, I think I want to give my children that chance to explore something, discover themselves, be more self-directed, and it's a learning process. And I love this journey, because as much as they are learning, I am learning as well. My husband is learning as well, and it's like together as a family, we are so involved in the process of education. Whereas probably I feel that in a typical schooling journey, I wouldn't have got that opportunity to be that involved. So that is what led us to a child-led this thing. My daughter is only about 2.5. There's a long way to go, and I'm not sure what she will choose or not choose. But again, unschooling is all about letting the child be self-aware and make those decisions. So if a time comes when she says, "Hey mommy, I want to go to school and experience that," her making that decision will also be part of unschooling. Allowing her to make that decision is also part of unschooling. Me saying no to that again will be against the principles of unschooling. So I will probably cross that bridge when I come to that.
Absolutely. Amrita, hi. I think you
Hi.
can hear us. Yeah, hi. So I was just starting off the discussion, speaking to all the panelists about their journey as a
Okay.
homeschooling parent. So before we start the questions about homeschooling, I just wanted if you could tell us a little bit more about your journey as a homeschooling parent. So I did give an introduction to you and your background before we started, but it will be great if you could give us a little bit more information on why you chose homeschooling.
Yeah. So how did this journey begin? So it all started when the school hunt began. Okay. So let me take you right back when the thought was not in our mind anywhere. And after hunting for a lot of schools, and then we put him into a traditional school, some thoughts started to linger in our mind that what do we really want to teach our child? How do we really want to teach our child? What exactly is education? And me myself being from the education background, being a teacher, there were all of these questions that kept coming in. And so me and my husband once sat down and then spoke about how we really want to go ahead with it. That is the time that homeschooling was a thought that started to pop up in the mind. And to frankly speaking, to take you even a step back, I mean, in the past, I myself, after my 12th grade, I studied through distance education. But because I was doing languages, so I have knowledge of 22 foreign languages. And since I wanted to pursue my passion for languages and study languages, I used to think that only college time is kind of not waste, but I wanted to utilize my more of my time for learning languages. So distance learning was something that I knew, but can we really do it even for younger kids was a big question. And then the research started, then the research began, and as I started to discover more about this concept, started to love it, then the question mark was, is it allowed in India? Can we really do it in India? And then when I discovered that, oh my God, there's already such a good and big community. So yes, why not? And then we jumped into it and started to homeschool our child.
So yeah, I mean, it's wonderful that everyone on this panel comes from such a different has a different journey, and everyone has approached homeschooling from a different perspective. And but the fact that you you hold that conviction that this is a wonderful choice for you and your family, that is so evident. So I will jump right into the questions, because one of the reasons for this panel is that we want to encourage many more parents who are considering this and get them to embrace it. So the
Shweta,
first,
I would just like to add one point before
yes,
you jump into questions. Sorry.
yes,
So,
yeah,
when we took this decision, I would really like to share that my son was a big part of it. He's just 9 years old now, and we've been homeschooling for past 3.5, 4 years. So
right.
when we took this decision, he was really small. But trust me, he had experienced school. And when he came back to us and said that no, in Marathi he spoke, आपली शाळा is better than this शाळा. म्हणजे this school is better than the old school, as in the home school is better than this school. That is the time we really took the decision. So I feel it's not just the parents, but even the children who are part of this entire decision making process.
Absolutely. And so I will start with the questions that we. So these are not questions from the audience. We do have a lot of questions from the audience. But I would like to start with one question that we always get on the forum is should I be a qualified educator to be a homeschooling parent? So that is something that a lot of parents ask us. It was asked even during our panel discussion during the last expo. So I think I will ask this question to Deepa, because she is just started this journey. So do you have? I mean, I know that a lot of parents want to take this journey, but the first question they ask is, should I be an educator myself to be a homeschooler?
So see, I can talk about from my perspective. My kid is in grade 2, so
Right.
my experience from the past 3 months has been no. You don't need to be a teacher. You just need to be educated. You need to be open to study the curriculum and of course make it fun for your kid. And it's the curriculum is beautifully explained from the school I've chosen, and it's very methodical, and the examples and the YouTube videos and the assignments, everything is given like in a very nice platform, in an app kind of a way. So if you are a little tech savvy, you use Facebook or Twitter or Insta, you should be able to get it. It's not rocket science. But I would not be able to give insights on higher classes, how difficult maybe it gets when you teach your kids physics or chemistry or maths, and if some like a parent doesn't have knowledge in those subjects, how it is. But for a grade 2, certainly no. I am having a lot of fun being with her. It's flexible, and in fact, there are a lot of things I get to learn, which I had forgotten, be it plants or be flowers, and it's beautiful for me to revisit those things.
Absolutely. And I actually want to also ask Anuradha and Amrita this question, because they are further in their journey as homeschoolers. So how much qualification would you need, as to homeschool your child? I mean, do you need to be an educator yourself, or can any parent do it?
Frankly, in our case, we were very happy with the school that Kriti was going to.
Right.
Valley is a very beautiful place to be. In fact, it's a pity we had to make that choice. In my case, I feel homeschooling, I think it's good to have some sort of a structure. And in our case, it took us a year to come up with a structure, find teachers. I travel with people, and so I wear multiple hats. I'm a parent. I travel with her. I'm also coaching her on course sometimes, and I'm training her. And then to also teach her, I think both of us needed some change. So I feel that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to engage with other adults who can teach the child. And that's what we very successfully did with Kriti. we engaged with teachers who took her subject by subject. And as the classes progress, I don't know if a parent is equipped to handle all subjects if you want your child to learn those.
Yeah. And Amrita, I would like to ask you, how do you plan your child's day? I mean, if is there, do you follow a structure, or do you go with what the child wants to do? I mean, what is your approach to that?
So it's a blend of both the things, I would say. So sometimes the structure is there. Like Anuradha ma'am rightly said, that you need a certain amount of structure, because you can't really have no structure at all. But having said that, doesn't mean that the structure is rigid. There's no rigidity. The structure is kind of, well, I love to call, like, for example, the timetable or the schedule. Instead of using those rigid words, we use the word rhythm. So what is rhythm? Basically, you get your body, your entire day, your study pattern into a flow, into such a rhythm that day after day, months after months, weeks after weeks, you can just follow that rhythm. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, that you can do it given that there is a structure, and yet there is that fluidity, that possibility to adjust as per your likes and dislikes. So in short, in just one word, it will be customizable. Like I always say, the books are customizable, the curriculum is customizable, the time slot is customizable. So you can customize anything and everything in homeschooling. And do we really need to be qualified educators? So just like again Anuradha ma'am said, I think so we can always look out for help, like especially for older kids, the older grade, maybe math or science or some technical subjects. I don't think every parent is equipped to teach that. Being an educator, I'm a language person. I'm not very good with maths, and I don't want to say that okay, I will teach all the subjects to my child. Yes, at the moment, because only he's just 9. But maybe when he grows older, yes, definitely I'll look out for some help. So, and there's nothing wrong in that.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm coming to a question that is asked so often, and I feel that it's a big misconception. But anyway, I'm asking. I want to ask this question to Fatima. So I think someone even asked it in the chat window here. So what about social life and interaction with peers? So there is this notion that when you are homeschooled, you are not able to socialize. So I have been around enough homeschoolers and homeschool children to know that that's not the case. But I'll ask Fatima to answer this.
Thank you, Shweta, and I actually answered it in the chat as
yes,
well.
I did. I wanted it to, because
this question very often. Yeah.
Yes.
On your group as well, on Bangalore Schools group as well, and many other forums that I'm part of as well. This is a very common question that comes up, and it's just going back to fundamentals, that when the child is born, they are born with certain skills, and I think that is very important for us to remember. They survive and they have skills that they are inbuilt with, and they don't just disappear. We don't need as the child is growing up, that they need our support to be interactive. Yes, maybe in certain cases, yes, but opportunities is what that we can provide. And if we have a child that is provided positive and open-minded opportunities, a child is going to develop that interaction. And again, what is interaction? What is the definition of interaction? Is it just between two children of the exact same age and built, who are put into a classroom? Is that the only definition of interaction? My interaction is with you. We all come from different backgrounds. This is social interaction. What about all these human beings who are, say, stay-at-home parents? Don't they have a social life or interaction? Of course, they interact with people. Interaction, is in different forms, and to limit it to just one category, saying I'm not in a classroom and I'm not interacting with another 6-year-old, I am being deprived of something? Absolutely not. Homeschooling is not equal to house arrest. I always make this statement, as much as cliche it sounds, but it's not house arrest. We are not arresting children in the house and saying, this is your home school, this is when the bell rings, and this is what you do, and this is your recess. They are not trapped. We are not trapping them in a basement or an attic or anywhere. They are not, in an electric chair. They are very, very independent children, and I think they develop such a strong sense of interaction. Of course, I can't compare the COVID times, but pre-COVID, I have seen, children who have a very, very strong schooling schedule. For example, in fact, I feel like they are getting lesser opportunities to interact with people because they have back-to-back, say, classes or back-to-back tuitions or back-to-back, schedule that has already been designed for them from morning 7 a.m. to, say, 10 p.m. in the night. So where is the interaction of their choice, for example? Or, interacting even with grandparents at home is such an amazing interaction, I think, which we all remember from our childhood. Going for summer vacation and interacting with our cousins is an interaction that we remember throughout our life. So these are valuable interactions, and to limit it to just saying that only a school can provide my child that interaction, and if that is really true, then there is something really wrong with our society. Interaction has to be, even my child interacting with a street dog is interaction, because she's going to pick up so many things from that interaction. Whether it is a verbal interaction, non-verbal interaction, whether it's just a bark or, a chirping bird, these are all interactions that are going to add value. So yes, homeschooling is not house arrest. I'll summarize it. And social interaction, I think children who are, away from very rigid structures of schooling get ample opportunities to explore so many different things. If parents or any other caregiver can spend time with them in the day, you can visit museums, you can visit science parks, you can actually be out and about without worrying about the weekend or weekday. In practical life as well, you get so many opportunities that open to you. So totally, I'm I always talk about it that no, homeschooling doesn't restrict you from this.
Absolutely. And I know that when the pandemic happened, that homeschool children were, all children faced that backlash, because the homeschool children, from what I know, they do so much of, they do a lot of projects, they meet people outside, and there's so much that you do. So, my next question is also something that was asked in the chat. Can both parents work and still homeschool their child? Is the question that is also asked a lot in our panel discussions. So, I just want to know who would like to take that question, because would Amrita, would you like to take that, or Deepa? Would one of you? So the question is, can both parents who are working homeschool their child? Another question we get asked often is, I'm a single parent, can I homeschool my child? I'm a single working parent.
Yes. So I think the answer is yes. But again, depending on, conditions apply. Why I'm saying conditions apply is because, see, a very, 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 very simple thing is, I could be around my child and yet not be involved. Okay. So homeschooling is something where you really are involved, or you need to be dedicated. Like I always say, schools can at times be stressful. Homeschooling is not stressful, it's stress free, but it requires dedication from the parents' side. It can't be something like, chalo, my friend has called me up, I'll speak with her, and I'm going for a cup of coffee at this very moment. It can't be something like that. I have to have a little bit of structure within me in order to develop that in my child, because the child is going to, at the end of the day, observe me and learn, because that is the parent that it's observing. Now, answering to if I'm working, then what? If both the parents are working, then it depends. If you really have a full time and a really hardcore job wherein you really can't give that time. You're late. You're traveling a lot. You're coming back home very late. If that is going to be the scenario, then is it something that, okay, maybe, when I am working or when I have my meetings, my husband will be taking care of the children, or can you work that out for your family? So I think these are the questions which you individually will have the answers to, not some other parent can answer for you, because this is something very that there are some questions. Can you give that time to your child? Or can you, if when you're not present, is there some other caretaker, as in it can be grandparents, it could be one of your relatives, I don't know. So is it that the grandparents are going to be with the children in the first half of the day, and then the second half of the day the parents will homeschool them? Because homeschooling is, at the end of the day, where the parents are involved with the children. You are giving them some customized learning as per their likes and dislikes and wants and their strengths and weaknesses. So if you want to customize that, and if you yourselves are going to be traveling, say 7 days a week or 5 days a week, then I doubt if that will be possible. But if it's a regular, maybe 9 to 5 job, but for sure that you're going to be at home at a certain hour and you are going to have that free time to be with your child, then you can jump into homeschooling. So that is why, yes, can you homeschool if you're working? Yes, but conditions apply.
Yeah.
Would like to share one experience of mine. Of course, you guys are veterans. I'm just a newbie here, but when I chose homeschooling for my daughter. She's in grade 2, and from March when COVID hit till June, she was in international school, so her June was on till June. School was on till June. So till June, March till June, I was actually making her study, like do the online studies that the schools were following. And I am working, and my husband is also working. Let me tell you, it was much tougher than what I'm doing right now, homeschooling my kids. Because I have a flexibility curriculum which gives me a flexibility. I can even do Saturdays and Sundays, and like skip Mondays if I have meetings. Okay, and but this normal school doesn't give me that flexibility. I have 4 weeks to submit the assignments, and it's a good enough time for me. Even if I skip a day, I can make that up on a weekend or a public holiday, especially in COVID time. I'm not going anywhere. So for us, absolutely made sense to have a shift, because for working parents, doing a 9 to 2, sitting at home and doing all the homework on a daily basis, I feel much tougher than homeschooling. So.
Yeah, that's so true. And we are having some questions here that are being answered by Fatima and, of course, by Sandhya Vishwan, my co-admin on Bangalore Schools, who, so she is at the forefront of the homeschooling community, and she's a homeschooler and an unschooler. So she is answering many questions. So I am not sure if these questions will be, recorded. But anyway, I will move on to the next question that I want to ask. Another question that gets asked often, and again it was asked here, is what if my child wants to go back to a regular school after homeschooling? So again, I think that varies and depends on each family and each child and what works for each child. So I would like to know who would like to take that question, because I know Anuradha went from a school to and then she homeschooled. So the question is, is admission a challenge when a homeschooling child is to be shifted to a school in, let's say, grade 6 or 8? So Sandhya has answered that. She said depends on which state one is at and school they are looking at. So Sandhya's son herself went back to school in grade 9. So would any of you like to answer it? If you want to, Ms. Anuradha, you want to have yeah.
So Kriti is back to college now.
Yes, yeah.
And it totally depends on what the child wants. If the child wants to go back to school, why not? So in our case, we had absolutely no difficulty because she had completed the 10th board and she had sufficient scores and also good scores, so getting admission was no challenge. But it also depends on the child and the home circumstances. Can we go back to the earlier on the social interaction bit? I just want one point to make there. That
Please, yeah.
that in our personal belief, the child must have interaction with with the children of same age category or peers. If the child is not going to school, either if there are no children at home, or there should be some creation of a environment where group dynamics or some interaction happens, especially if a child is an introvert or interacting with elders, interacting with it's very different than interacting with peers. And you need that skill to survive. It could be in a class, it could be in a painting class or whatever. But I believe that interacting with peers and some time to just stand and chat and just stand under a tree and talk is very, very important.
Yes. And I get what you say, because my daughter during the pandemic, she was at home a lot, and she was interacting with her friend on. They were playing a game. They were teaching each other a game, and they were on the phone. And so in school, she doesn't interact that much. But here, the environment was such that it actually encouraged her to interact. So I think that environment also helps. It doesn't have to be necessarily a school, but the child can learn in different ways. We are having a lot of questions here. So the next question I want to ask is what after homeschooling? So again, you are looking at college and professions and careers. So what happens next? I mean, how do homeschool children approach college and career? I think Anuradha can definitely answer this since her daughter is in college.
So basically, Kriti is a very competitive child, and she thrives in an environment where you have exams and competition. And so she's back to college, and she's also taken science. Usually, sports people prefer arts and subjects which probably don't require practicals, but she likes the science subject. She has taken that, and we are betting on her and helping her do it. In fact, her college has assured her that they will support her all the way, provided she continues to play. So I think it's again, I think driven a lot by the child. And let's agree, someday they will have to come back into this so-called normal world. They will have to, you've got to survive, you've got to earn your bread. And for that, these degrees are important. And if we have given them a good base by homeschooling, given them sufficient time, made them thinking individuals, I think they will make good choices.
Right. And I think I shifted gears pretty quickly to careers. I mean, there is a question that is asked about the 10th and 12th exams. So the exams are something that parents ask a lot about, and what are the choices that homeschooling parents can do. So can they look at 10th and 12th NIOS, or can they look at IGCSE, AS and A levels? So what are the different options that are there for for parents of homeschooling children? How do you tackle the exam factor? Amrita, you want to answer that, or? Yeah.
So there are various options available, and as Anuradha ma'am rightly said, that at the end of the day, the certificates do matter. It might be just a piece of paper, but when we say a certificate, we mean that they need a certain degree. And if you have rightly homeschooled right, then yes, there shouldn't be any problem, and they will be able to survive in this real world, right? Now, which exams are available? I think there's NIOS. There's in Maharashtra we also have MIOS, Maharashtra Institute of Open Schooling, which was just recently last year started. There is IGCSE, and there is also SSC through though if you want to appear for SSC, the state board, you have to there is a certain formalities which are required, but these are the options which are available. And I think NIOS and IGCSE, both the boards, I mean, they have so many subjects to choose from. And so basically, plus the choice is so amazing that you can, actually have one subject from music or arts and other one totally from a technical field. So that's the kind of freedom that you would enjoy, you could give to your child. So if you can just go on the website of IGCSE or NIOS, both the boards have some fantastic list of subjects to choose from. So I don't think that should be a problem while appearing for boards. And apart from boards, if your child is competitive, or you want to give them an idea of what exactly it is to be like in this exam world, then you can always make your children appear for Olympiads. And there are many Olympiads who happily take homeschoolers. In fact, today there are almost all the Olympiads which allow Indian homeschoolers to appear for Olympiads. So I don't think even that should be an issue.
Okay. And
I add something.
please.
So statistically, actually, it's proven that homeschoolers do much better than the kids who go to school around the world. The universities outside India, they actually all of them usually, if it's an accredited homeschool that you're going to, and if you have a proper like a certificate or a result that you have attended, they all take homeschoolers in the colleges. I'm not aware of Indian colleges yet, but internationally, homeschooling is totally very relevant platform for kids, and all of the colleges take kids from homeschools. Yeah.
Yeah, Anuradha, please.
So we experienced NIOS board. I must say it's a robust system. It's a very well-designed system. Gives immense flexibility, and depending on the child's interest and the speed, you can choose to write exams. You can write exams twice a year. You can choose to have on-demand exams. Like in case of Kriti, because of her tournament, she would choose lean season to write exams, and she chose to do 2 papers every 6 months. And she ended up finishing her 10th standard 6 months before her classmates, and it gave her a 6 month window to train outside the country. So all these are immense benefits. In fact, the NIOS board also gave her flexibility with her practicals, which
Right.
never, and it is also location agnostic. So you could be anywhere, you could be traveling with a certain notice, you can write from anywhere. I think it's a very mature system. Unfortunately, I find that there's not much information in the public domain about it, and people don't know. There is some fear, about it. So I think we are very happy people who have experienced NIOS. In fact, today also when Kriti is back to college, whenever some question, she says, if it doesn't work, NIOS is always there. So she's very clear. You can go back and do that.
Right. Yeah. We had a session on NIOS earlier in the day, and it was really wonderful to see the absolute potential of NIOS. Before I move on, Anuradha, what does Kriti study in college? I mean, what is her specialization or her?
No, so she's in 11th standard. She's doing
11th.
physics.
Okay.
Physics. She's doing physics, chemistry, math, computer science. This is the combination she has chosen.
Okay. Right. And she is in a school now.
Yeah. So she's, in fact, in the last 6 months before college started, she's finished half of the syllabus on her own, because she knows how to do it on her own now. So as and when possible, she does online classes. And yeah, so it trains the child to do things, prepare, plan, execute independently.
Yeah. And so I have a question. I really want to ask that question from a viewer to Fatima. I don't know if she's here. So the question is, in case of children with social communication disorder, is homeschooling recommended? Because the emphasis needs to be given more on developing peer interaction. How can it be done in this case? Is Fatima here? Like, I can't see her. Fatima, can you hear me? Can you put your mic on, please? And your okay, she's not here. So would anyone like to answer that? So the question is, if a child has social communication disorder, is homeschooling recommended? Because for children who with neurodiversities, that stimulus is needed, that you need to be with other children. That's her question. So would anyone want to take that?
Yeah, sure, I can take it. So I think if the question is in case of children with social communication disorder,
Yes.
is homeschooling recommended? I think again that question a parent himself or herself can answer better, because the parents know their children the best, I feel.
Yes.
But about homeschooling, then if you are looking at an environment, because I too strongly believe that even if the friendships or the social interaction is not just the age limited, though it should be somewhere where they can relate to. So it not necessarily be at classes, but anywhere. As ma'am said, that it could be at a painting class, it could be at sports. So before COVID, my son was into a lot of sports. So he plays tennis and football and swimming. So he was actually enjoying the 3 to 4 hour session, like where he's hardcore playing and he's with his friends and all of that. And that is equally important in their growth and development. What is also important is the group dynamics, because I think group dynamics are the best learned on ground than anywhere else, because in a sport, in a team sport probably, or when you're with your friends and just sharing vada pav, I think that's where you learn lot of things. So if you are thinking about homeschooling, and if your child has certain issues, then you can look out for homeschooling co-ops in your area, homeschooling groups in your area. There are many homeschoolers today, right?
Yes.
You can get connected with them, and I in fact personally know so many parents who are homeschooling. So a couple of parents, they interchange, on different days. Like today I'm good with math, for example, and I will teach math, and Shweta is good with science, she might take science, Anuradha ma'am could take history, and Deepa could take English. So the kids get a group also, and they are still homeschooling, and they are shuffling between the parents. So such kind of co-ops do exist. So you can find out for certain such things, or you can find out for music classes, art classes, or something like that, wherein the kid can interact and you can still homeschool. But again, this is like a family decision. You need to sit with you need to understand homeschooling, and then you need to sit with your family and customize it as per your needs. It's totally customizable, and in today's age, where you can customize a pizza, customize an uttappa and dosa and ice cream and whatnot, why not customize education as per absolutely exclusively for our own children?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and we also have the resources for it. So, like you mentioned, apart from so many digital resources, we have so many communities. So we have the homeschoolers Nook. We have Telegram community that Sandhya herself manages. We have so many. Chennai has a vibrant homeschooling community. I was informed, and same with Mumbai. So many places, Coimbatore as well. So there are these resources you can use, and community is a great. Community support is something that you can really rely on, because you can reach out to other parents and ask them. So I think we are almost, I think we are, yeah. So there's a question from Linda. So for younger children, is it possible to homeschool without NIOS according to what my child's interests are? I ask this as most regular schools require a TC if admission is needed to class 2 and beyond. So her question is, what if I don't want to, if I want to homeschool without NIOS? Because I know that in NIOS you have, you obviously have the, OBE, and you have it in third, fifth, and eighth optional exams. So I think she wants to ask if it's okay if I don't have because most schools are asking for a TC for classes beyond 2. So how do I deal with that situation is what Linda is asking. Linda, I don't know where she is from, but yeah. Would anyone like to take the question? Because I think, yeah. Yes, Deepa.
No, Deepa, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to speak as my kid is also in grade 2, so it's kind of similar. So actually, depending on the board that your kid is going, if your kid is going in ICSE board or CBSE board, you need to check with the school what homeschooling options they will take back the kid in. But for international boards in India, there are a lot of IGCSE and IB curriculum homeschooling options available, which are outside India. Few of them are like Wellesley, Oxford International School. They offer proper assignments and their grades, as well as a certificate of completing the grade that your child is going to. And with that certificate, you can go back to international school anytime. For ICSE and CBSE, as I said, I'm not aware, but there are a lot of schools due to COVID which have started taking homeschooling certificates as well.
Right. And so I think Vani is asking, so I'll just type in the links to the Facebook group. There's homeschoolers, There's also a Telegram group. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you are audible, Fatima. Would you like to take that question that someone had? No worries. Okay. No worries at all. Okay. Oh, that's we are all part of it every day now since the pandemic. But it's I can hear you. Please go ahead. So Vani's question, yeah, you know the question, right? Shall I repeat it again? It was so children, yeah. So children with social communication disorder is homeschooling recommended because the emphasis needs to be given on developing peer interaction. So can it be done in this case? Yes. Okay, that's so wonderfully put, Fatima. It was just wonderful to hear that. And before I wrap up, we are waiting for a few people. I think a few people from the audience are raising their hands. Would request you to type your question, please, because I can't see you. I can't physically see you. Before I wrap up and I take a couple of questions, I'd like to ask now that we have everyone's talking about the NEP, but going forward, we want to know what do you think needs to change or what can be done differently by way of policies and by way of what are the options that are out there? What are the changes that you think will help the homeschooling community? You want to take that, Anuradha? I think Fatima and Deepa are not online. Yeah.
No, I can't think of what needs to be changed. I'm a very satisfied and a happy homeschooler, so
Right.
and it suited us very well.
Okay.
The only thing I would look forward is that maybe there should be some credit for sports. You know,
Right.
yeah, there should be a subject of credit, something like that, in the early classes also.
Right. Yeah. Fatima, would you like to add? Okay. Yeah, sure. So, just to wind up, I'd like to know so as since everyone's talking about the NEP, so what changes would you, as a homeschooler and unschooler, would like to see moving forward? In the session in the morning, someone said that in NIOS, I'd like to see a little bit of content revamped, for example. So would you like to add that you'd like to see by way of changes moving forward? Right. Yes. Yeah, I think Fatima, I think your the connection is, yeah. I think so. We will wrap it up. We have two people who have raised their hands, but I'm not able to, bring them here or to see their questions. So I think I'll wrap it up. I just had one question from Mr. Vikram, who wanted to ask Deepa. His question is, will you continue with homeschooling even when things return to normal? So I don't know when that is going to happen, and I don't know what is normal anymore. But the question is to Deepa.
So currently, when I compare the normal schooling to homeschooling, we are really happy with the school homeschooling curriculum right now, and the flexibility it gives and the idea it gives that we can return to normal schooling anytime um, is actually very exciting. And also, I see my daughter doing much better than she was doing at school. Her concepts and all, of course, she was learning. I would not say she wasn't, but I think because we are able to give her one-on-one time and able to resolve issues she's not able to understand. Give her time to understand things rather than rushing through the curriculum of say 20 people kids in a class. So we are liking that fact. So I cannot say currently 100% we are going to go back to school. Given the COVID situation, at least a year or 2 years, we are planning to continue with homeschooling. And yeah, we are currently very happy and we see our kid learning. And if this is how it goes, once we go back to offices and all that, again, we need to take care of. Right now, me and my husband are working from home, right? So the situation is different. So once we go back to office and things get back to normal, we need to take that call. But comparing to the knowledge perspective, my daughter learning, I would say she's learning much better. So we haven't taken that call. We'll take that call maybe a year from now.
Yeah. So I thank everyone on this panel for your insight. It was wonderful to hear your journeys and how what diverse journeys all of you have had with your children. Thank you for sharing your stories with us, and I hope this encourages a lot more of us to embrace homeschooling, because I think it truly is a wonderful framework, or you can't think of it as a framework, but it is a wonderful journey ahead for so many children and families. So thank you so much for being here, to Deepa, to Amrita, to Anuradha, and of course to Fatima. It was just a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. Thank you to all our viewers for asking such wonderful questions. We had so many viewers for this panel discussion, and that tells you that people are interested in this. So many people for NIOS, so many people for homeschooling, so many people for inclusive education. And it's such a heartening thing to see. So thank you so much to all of you. And we have another event at 5, so I will see you then. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye.